Okay then, Nick, if you'd like to just introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and how long you've been playing guitar.
Sure, hi. My name's Nick, and I'm 52, and I've been playing guitar for, well, I suppose since I was 18, off and on.
Okay.
I work in IT at the moment, which means I travel around an awful lot, but I try and get in as much playing as I can, when I can. I used to, when I was younger, I played an awful lot of guitar, I guess as you do, because you've got the time.
Sure.
Learned to play with a bunch of guys at school. Inevitably got a little band going, of course,
Right.
which I found was one of the fastest ways to learn, really, about just some of the fundamentals of music and how things work together.
Okay.
And of course you kind of encourage each other along.
Sure.
So yeah, I suppose for the first sort of 6 years, 7 years of playing, was mainly with other guys, you know, trying to get bands going or exploring different types of music.
Okay.
Then as time has gone by, I've kind of drifted a little bit and
Sure.
ended up, you know, just it's been more of a sort of lonely hobby, really.
Right.
But I always felt that there was more to it,
Okay.
which of course there is, and felt that I wasn't going to make much progress on my own playing. So I was looking for, you know, some other avenues, really,
Okay.
ways to progress. I found out about Andre. Was I bumped into a friend quite by chance who I knew played guitar, and I was asking him how his playing was going, and he said that he'd got a new teacher. So I asked him who that was and a little bit of background, and he told me all about Andre. And so, as coincidence would have it, it was about a week or two before Andre's end-of-year show that he puts on. And so I managed to get myself a ticket to that and go along, and I was able to meet Andre and a load of his other students as well.
Brilliant. So, given that you've already played for quite a number of years, you've done the band thing, Nick, I mean, what were some of your challenges, if you think back to when you started, just before your lessons with Andre, what were some of your challenges? How would you describe those that you faced in your playing?
So some of the challenges that I had with my playing, I think, before I came to Andre, were that certainly I felt that my playing was getting stale. I needed some new direction and ideas to explore. I needed to, I think, probably be challenged as well, because you do get into a rut. You get to play the same things all the time. You don't really push yourself.
Right.
And then if you do and you get things wrong, you tend to steer away then from those things. And so it all just becomes a bit samey, and you're stuck in that rut, really.
Sure.
So there was that, and I think because it had been a long time since I played in a band, a long time since I'd really performed in front of an audience.
Right.
There was also a tension there of I felt relaxed playing on my own, but if I tried to play in front of other people, I felt like I'd tensed up a little bit. And,
Right.
so I was looking for ways to try and alleviate that and get back into that old groove that I used to have when I was in the band.
Okay. I mean, just talking a little bit about that, I mean, that sort of stems from sort of confidence and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
In terms of that. I mean, given that you've played, I mean, tell us a little bit about the sort of playing that you've done in terms of workshops, shows, and how that's gone for you.
Yeah, the workshops that I've been a part of, and I think in the past 15 months or so, I've been to, I think, every workshop and some of the live events as well. Really enjoyed those, because that took me back to the old days, really, where I did feel relaxed in playing with others in front of an audience. It's so dramatically different from playing on your own, because there's that urgency about playing live. There's also the syncopation as well, and sort of bouncing off what other people are doing, which gives you a real thrill, gives me a thrill anyway. So I think particularly the workshops, the playing with other people, different people as well, so you're not playing with the same people all the time, which is another real kick and another real advantage, because you get to see other people's styles, you get to see other people's approaches, and you pick up on stuff like that as well.
This one is for all the bouncers. Big monkey man. Now I understand. You're turning it up on getting bossy. It's alright. Let me tell you, walking on a big monkey man. It's alright. Let me tell you, walking on a big monkey man.
I mean, casting your mind back, I mean, what were some of your expectations of lessons before you actually started? I mean, what were you expecting?
So my expectations of the lessons really were, I think, around learning some structure, structure around playing guitar, structure around music itself, trying to get my head around a bit more of the theory. I did take classical guitar lessons briefly some time ago, but never really got my head around the actual theory and musical composition side of it, and found that was a bit too rigid for me, really. And I've always been self-taught, other than that, especially when it comes to sort of contemporary playing. But once your eyes are opened to some of the theory of music and how it is structured and how it is actually, I mean, it's very scientific really in its own way because of the structure, then you realise that there's far more to it than really what I think you could ever teach yourself. But in a way that stimulates, I think, the curiosity and the desire to know more. And it helps to have an understanding of, you may have been playing stuff instinctively or by feel for years, but then to have an understanding of why something works the way it does and why sometimes things don't work. Or a concept of, yes, there are rules, but then those rules can be broken. And understand why that works sometimes and why it doesn't.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
An element of that, definitely, the understanding the theory, and then also, I suppose, just trying to instill a little bit of discipline as well into practicing exercises rather than just nerdling away, without any real structure.
I mean, of all the things that you've done, if you cast your mind back, I mean, what would you say have been some of your personal biggest breakthroughs on guitar in the last 15 months?
I think definitely the opportunity to play to an audience again in a band situation and feel actually quite confident.
Okay.
I mean, a particular example I think probably was the little gig that we did in Nuneaton Town Centre.
Okay.
On a fairly blowy, cold Saturday afternoon.
Okay, which you might do again.
In front of complete strangers.
Right.
Just people passing through.
Yes.
Some of whom stopped to listen and were very appreciative.
Sure.
And I think the just being able to get up and play in front of complete strangers like that, without there being any expectations really on any side.
Okay.
And actually I felt really comfortable and confident about that.
You can't interrupt what that sounds good. You belong to Calvin Klein. A trick to think what the future will be when we're living in real gangster time.
So I think that was a sort of a bit of a crowning moment, really.
Excellent.
Definitely.
Okay. From a playing point of view, in terms of...
I felt relaxed, so I was quite happy to try and stretch myself a little bit, I suppose.
Right.
You know, without worrying about what happens if I get this wrong, kind of thing.
So it's playing through your mistakes and the performance.
Yeah, that sort of thing, really. And not worrying too much about making mistakes.
Right.
Because I think that, you know, one of the things, certainly playing with some of the youngsters who are students, has shown me that a barrier sometimes to playing is that worry about what happens if I make a mistake.
Yes.
And you don't see that so much in you, especially the kids.
Sure.
Because they don't care.
Right.
And they just want to push themselves as far as they can.
Yes.
And I think it's really admirable and exciting. And sadly we lose that a little bit, I think, when we grow up, because we do become more cautious and sort of risk averse pretty much in everything we do.
Sure.
So
the guitar's your chance to really let rip.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, good on the sort of performance. We talked about the workshops. We talked about the live performance. You mentioned the Nuneaton. What about specifically on any sort of technique level in terms of things that we may have done? Anything that comes to mind on that side?
Yeah, certainly technique. I think got a much better idea of dynamics.
Right.
I think that although I know I've still got an awful long way to go, certain doors have been opened to me and windows which I've been able to look through and see where my playing can be improved on many levels. And certainly dynamics is one of it. The best way I suppose I can describe it is making my playing more three-dimensional instead of two-dimensional, where you might just play up and down the neck, notes up and down the neck, even if that's got structure, that's quite two-dimensional. Whereas if you start to introduce, you know, some more dynamics in your playing, changes in volume, note bending, vibrato, sliding, you know, all the little ornamentations as well, but also sometimes not playing. The silence, the silence
between the notes.
Which speaks volumes as well in itself. So just understanding that it isn't just all about ripping through a pentatonic scale as quickly as you can, but it's actually about thinking a bit more about what you're going to play and how you're going to play it. Really.
Excellent. I mean, on that point, talking about dynamics and not playing, I mean, how does it feel now to be up in front of people and to not play for a few seconds? How does that feel now, and how did it used to feel before, if there is a difference?
Well, there is a difference, because I guess is that there seems to quite often be this urge, or this people feel the need to fill up the silence, to play as many notes as they can, fit in as much as they can. Whereas actually, you listen to some of the most accomplished guitarists, and you realise that's not what they're doing.
No.
You know, a lot of the time, you know, they'll fill certain spaces, then they'll leave spaces. They'll use volume to great effect and that sort of thing. And I think once you get used to that idea that you can do that in front of an audience.
So we're going to start from a knee. We're going to do it like Freddie King style. Those of you remember Freddie King before the 3 things to blue, so something like 2, 3, 4, and then sing 8.
The things that stand out for me from the lessons I've had, from the workshops, from the live events, etc. From a theory point of view, I think understanding modal shapes and their relationships has been very important to me. Certainly in terms of grasping a better concept of how to play melodic lead guitar.
Right.
I think playing with other people who have completely different styles or tastes
and
in
still
music,
fitting
is actually has been a real eye opener for me, because I think naturally in the past when I've played with other people, I've always played with like-minded people. Inevitably, you gravitate towards people who like the same music as you or have the same sort of approach. So that's been really interesting, and I think a big help. And then I think just encouraging a sense of structure and discipline into my playing. And I think the bottom line for it all really can be summed up by saying you can never learn enough or practice too much.
Sounds like great advice. Okay, thanks ever so much, Nick. I think that's a wrap.
Without love,